Welcome back, Kuma Crew. It is once again your favorite friendly despair bear Annakuma, and I'm back with another demo review. This game, the BIGGLEBOSS Incident, actually is coming out on the 22nd of July, which is a few days after I'm starting to make this review, but probably a week or so before this review comes out. The Drifter came out the week before this, and I had a bunch of things I really needed to get out and done, and then I hated every script I wrote for this video, so yeah, smile. What is the BIGGLEBOSS Incident though? Let me stop waffling about my bad time management and get on with it. We play as this guy here, Tom. He is forever late to work, and because he is forever late to work, he knows how to sneak in without being noticed. I don't know how he manages to be late all the time and no one notices, but it seems his boss, Mr. BIGGLEBOSS, is fed up with tardiness and is up to security. To begin with, I love the intro to this demo. It is a very tongue-in-cheek take the mick out of spy stuff, very much Johnny English, but if it was made by Seth MacFarlane, and to be fair, a lot of this game feels right out of a MacFarlane show. When we finally get to the parking lot, we meet the security guard. He's obviously up to something with our boss, but we're too dumb to notice or really care.
Because you're not stuck in the basement cleaning cars.
Well, I mean, that and the fact that I'm a lot closer to the company cocktail bar.
Right, so, given all that, how likely is it that I have a direct radio line to the CEO of this company?
Not very?
Good boy.
But I was sure I heard...
I said good boy.
He is the one that tells us that security is now tighter than usual, and he won't just let us upstairs. So, obviously, the tutorial puzzle is to sneak past this guy. This puzzle isn't difficult, but it is done perfectly to teach you how to play the game. It lets you learn your inventory, how to interact with things, and how the world is going to be set out. Our interactions with this guy gives you an idea of what the humor is going to be like going forward, how people will interact with Tom, and indeed how Tom will interact with the world around him. It is a really good opening and extremely good for the demo. When you finally distract him long enough to use the stairs, you'll get to the lobby. Again, the interaction with the receptionist makes you wonder why the heck you get away with being late all the time. She's obviously long done with her shenanigans, and she will also give you a quest that you don't actually do in the demo. Or you might have been able to do it in the demo, I didn't attempt it. I don't think you can do it in the demo. Getting into the elevator shows you what is to come. Most of the floors are blocked off for the demo, and we're told level 3, or the bathroom as it is, will be the end of the demo, so don't go there till last. That being said, the moment you get upstairs, there isn't much more to do. I feel it gave you a little more just to have a longer demo and to give a little more flavor. The interaction in the toilet itself was important to the plot, as it builds up the mystery of something going on in the building, but the receptionist and the operations room really weren't needed in the demo. I guess being able to see how many levels and how big the game is a good thing as well, so it all kind of worked out in the end. So what is there to get excited about when it comes to BIGGLEBOSS? Personally, I really enjoyed the humor. I will probably compare it to Seth MacFarlane work a lot. Hell, the main character looks straight out of Ted, and a lot of the humor just feels like Peter Griffin against the world. It has a more sitcom-y feel to it than most adventure games do, and this could go both ways. It could end up giving it a nice unique feel, or it could fall the other way and start to grate on the nerves very fast. We'll have to see. Much of which way it falls is going to fall on Tom's shoulders. I recently played 3 Minutes to Midnight with a very dumb main character, and it felt nearly unplayable at points, knowing I had to spend time with Betty, this character here. Already Tom is lazy, pretty dumb, and blind to the world around him, but he also seems self-aware enough that this might all fade away into the background the longer you get into the mystery of what is happening in the company. One thing I guess that helps this is that I found the voice acting in the game overall pretty great. I love how people interacted with Tom, and it feels like a group of people who are fed up of having to deal with him, knowing that nothing will ever be done about his tardiness or his laziness. In other words, it is extremely relatable to anyone who works in any capacity, and if it isn't relatable, I'm afraid to tell you that you might be the Tom in your place of work. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Plus, again, to compare it once more to 3 Minutes to Midnight, Tom's voice acting doesn't come across as annoying. Why is it that dumb female characters have to have that very stereotypical and annoying voice, but dumb men just sound like normal men, but dumb? Okay, I know that sounds like I'm setting up a joke there. No, I don't want to hear all men are dumb in the comments, because they aren't. Please, if you are making a dumb female character in the future, make them sound normal, but just dumb, like you do with the men. And that is why Tom is probably gonna trounce Betty in not annoying me with his voice. And I would like to say the voice actress of Betty did a great job. It was just the way they directed that game that really got on my nerves. I will talk about 3 Minutes to Midnight at some point. Don't worry, that review is on its way.
Well, that was weird.
Gameplay-wise, it doesn't do anything special, but it does everything correctly and well. Inventory is easy to access and use. I like how all the menus look officey to remind you of the setting. Hitboxes are clear and big enough, and items that are of interest or clickable stand out well enough that you don't end up hunting for something that you've missed. They don't try to stand out by implementing a new way of playing an adventure game. They get the basics right and make it simple to do, which I have to say I appreciate. If you haven't already, check out my review for its Grim Up North. This is a game that tried to find a fancy way to combine items in the inventory, something that should never be more difficult than clicking on one item and then putting on top of another item. What this demo did really well though, is that it got me excited for the actual story itself.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
This, I feel, is the way all adventure game demos should be. Unless you have some really interesting gameplay mechanic, what is the one thing that makes you stand out without giving too much away? A story hook for people to actually want to come back for. Biggleboss's demo isn't very long. It doesn't show you much of the world, but the introduction, which was really well done, as well as the conversations with the giant maybe man rat in the vents, asked the question, what is going on in this building? And it did it well enough that a bear like me went, yeah, what is going on in this building? So now I very much need to find out what is going on in this building. I think it really worked in its favor that it only had a few places to go to, a very well selected handful of people to talk to, and didn't bog you down in any huge quest that you had to do. You couldn't really get lost in this demo. It was very quick and to the point. That isn't to say that other demos can't be more hands-on, because they can. Rosewater and The English Haunting both gripped me with gameplay demos mixed with slow burn stories, and the demos were twice as long, and I was indeed hooked. Biggleboss didn't need any more though, and they knew they didn't. Give us a good laugh, a decent puzzle, show off how simple everything is to use, and then who is going to begrudge the game their time when they see it? I say this all though, but my chat were not a fan of the artwork. Or I guess I should say character work, because the backgrounds look amazing, like something out of old Daedalic games before Gollum arrived on the scene. They are nicely decorated, again giving the player ease of figuring out interactable areas whilst being beautifully detailed. Characters though kind of look out of place. For me, there is some nostalgia to it. They look like the characters out of the Scruffs, a hidden object game me and my family were obsessed with back in the day when I was a little bear cub. There is something stiff and ugly about them, plus they feel a little underdone, I guess? I don't really know how to describe it, but for me it was fine. I quite liked it. I like different art styles in my games, and I don't really judge it for not being fantastic art. It's still fantastic, but it felt odd. To once again take 3 Minutes to Midnight as an example, and yes, that game is on my mind a lot right now. I just finished it after way too long putting off ending it, and I have opinions that, as I said, you will hear soon. Someone pointed out in my chat that the art in that game didn't look cheap like in some other games. Though it did border on cheap mobile AI looks later in the game, it wasn't, but it felt that way at times. But the game itself felt soulless and just a vessel for bad jokes, fourth wall breaking, and just references, all the references. The characters in Biggleboss might not look pretty, but I think they just work. The voice acting really brings them to life, and they have that, again, sitcom-y, Seth MacFarlane, The Office type vibes. If someone made an adventure game of the US Office, I would see this art style being perfect for it. I'm not even joking about that. So, whilst it might be a bit of a put-off for some, I would say give it a go still. I liked it anyway, and the demo was fun. Game is out on the 22nd of July 2025, and as I'm reading this, I'm making this voiceover for this video like 2 weeks later. It is already out, so go have a look. I will pick it up sometime after I finish The Drifter, which I've already done. I haven't picked it up because AI Somnium also come out and Wildwood Down is coming out, but I will pick this one up. It's kind of on the back burner until all the other games are done, but I'm gonna play it by the end of the year, I promise. If you want to check the game out though, the link to the game store page is in the description below as always, so go give it a look. That is sadly all the time I have for today. If you want to support this bear here in all my adventure game shenanigery, then like the video, comment below on how you'd sneak into work, and subscribe. Also, give me a follow over at twitch.tv/Annakuma, where I play games 5 days a week. I usually play adventure games on a Monday, but I've been giving my niece some work experience recently, so she takes up the Monday slot. But I'm sure things will go back to normal soon. It is my full-time job, so any support over there will be appreciated. Till next time though, thanks for watching as always, and bye-bye.